Welcome to Studio A. Our guest today is Mr. Travis Pope, President of Northeast Indiana Public Radio and General Manager of WBOI. Welcome to the studio, Travis.
Thank you for having me, Stephanie.
Thank you. You were very kind when I called you, and it was just, you're generous with your time, and I appreciate it.
No, we run a community radio station. This is my favorite part of the gig. They don't let me have much fun anymore.
Yeah, you really enjoy doing the interviewing?
I do really enjoy being out in the community and talking about what it is that we do, right?
Okay, because you're passionate about what you do?
Because I'm passionate about it, and because for us, what we do is also about telling the story of what we do.
Sure.
And
are you a natural-born storyteller?
I wouldn't say that. I would say I had to warm up to it a little bit.
All right.
I'm used to more being behind the scenes.
Okay.
But I'm slowly growing into it, even if I haven't grown into this jacket quite yet. But no, I thank you for having me so much.
Thank you. So let's get into it. Where are you from, Travis?
I am from Richmond, Virginia.
Virginia.
My dad was in the military, and we moved to Richmond after being in Kansas for just a year.
Okay.
And I lived there right up until I decided to go gallivanting off into the West and the Midwest.
Okay, where did you attend college?
I went to John Tyler Community College, also in Richmond, Virginia.
Okay.
I got into radio the hard way. So I graduated high school in Richmond, and there wasn't a lot of money to go to college. And
okay.
I loved technology reporting at the time.
Okay.
So I did that for a while, and then and I enjoyed it. And then when I came to public media, I worked at a station that would help pay for college. And so I went back about 6 years ago, actually.
Okay.
And graduated last October, actually.
And what did you get your degree in?
My degree is in mass communications.
Mass communications.
Yeah, which was great because, if you're going to work in it, you might as well get the degree in it.
Makes sense. So you were a non-traditional student.
I was a non-traditional student.
So after high school, you did what?
So after high school, I worked at Staples, an office supply store, managing inventory for them.
Okay.
And then I did that while kicking off a career in technology reporting.
Technology reporting, and what does that entail?
Oh, for at that time, this is before AI.
Sure.
That was covering Microsoft and Apple, right as those two companies were taking off in new directions. So at the time, Microsoft was experimenting with music.
Okay.
And the Xbox.
Yeah.
And Apple was experimenting with the iPhone.
Uh-huh.
And so I got to cover both of those.
Okay.
And really enjoyed it. That was the only thing I'd ever wanted to do.
Really?
Yeah, I discovered, much like public radio, I discovered computers in 1996.
Okay.
My dad had one, and I thought, oh, this is really cool. And it was sort of a thing that was always in the background. And I saw other people reporting about technology and approaching it in this new direction. And I thought, oh, I want to do that. And I loved.
So you knew early on what you wanted to do?
Yeah, I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
What do you love about it?
I believe the technology, today I think it's, and the reason why I left is because it's kind of wavered from this. To me, technology is this amazing thing that allows you to do other amazing things.
Okay.
A very liberal arts approach to technology.
Okay.
And so for me, that something plugs in and it's cool. It's not as important to me as what does it empower you to do.
Okay.
And I love that part about it. The things that you can create.
The myriad of things.
Yeah, right. The media that you can create. The things that you can share with other people. Technology is cool for different reasons. I left because it stopped maybe being about as much as that as I would like and started being more about yearly iterations and things like that, which I wasn't particularly interested in. So I departed technology reporting in 2018 when I came to public media. And by then we were on the iPhone 7? I think iPhone 7.
Okay.
And Windows 10 had already sort of faltered, and so I went, oh, we're not asking important questions anymore, so it's time for me to go to some place that is.
Are you an only child?
No, I'm the oldest of 6, actually.
The oldest of 6?
Yes, I am the oldest of 6.
My goodness.
I'm going to get the numbers wrong. I have 3 brothers and 2 sisters, and ranging in age from just a year below me to, I believe my youngest brother is 20 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. What is that like, being in a big family?
I will say it, there's a reason why I've never had a roommate. Candidly. And I don't have any children. children, I suspect that might actually be related too. But there was always someone at home.
Yeah.
And there was always someone to hear you out. There's some pressure too, right? When you're the oldest of that many.
Yes.
There's a,
the expectation.
It is. My dad didn't graduate. My dad did graduate high school, but didn't graduate college until maybe about 10 years ago himself. My mom never graduated from
college.
No, she never graduated from high school.
Oh.
And so there was never a lot of money to go around.
Okay.
And I think the parts of myself that I like are all from that. A willingness to work hard and understanding of what it takes to have a non-traditional road to a
grit.
Job.
Yeah, the grit.
Determination.
Yeah.
Humor.
Yeah.
I think is in there somewhere. I've had maybe 4 or 5 jobs. I've only ever worked at 4 or 5 companies, excuse me. But because there was not a lot of money for college, I had to get a job, and I moved out at 17 when I graduated high school.
You did.
And I worked at Staples for 7 years while trying to break into technology reporting full time. And the things that I call upon every day, whether it's being a decent leader of people, whether it's customer service, whether it's understanding the correct sequence for a problem, all of that comes from working retail, actually.
I'm imagining that it taught you patience as well.
It did, particularly back to school season at an office supply store. But it did. It also, I draw on that experience a lot.
Do you?
I do, because it taught me so much about myself, but so much about people.
Yes.
Right? And understanding what someone's motivation is. To society itself, right? The Staples that I worked at was in an affluent neighborhood.
Okay.
And seeing a family come in and drop $500 on school supplies.
Right.
Right? Knowing that I'd never had that experience, right?
Right.
I had to borrow a TI-83 calculator.
Okay.
And seeing that and saying, oh, there's a whole world out there that I'm not experiencing, and it's because of my family background, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Is that where your drive came from as well?
I would say that, and an inability to not know when to call it.
Really?
Yeah. So, and I had this conversation with my grandfather.
Okay.
Maybe when I decided to leave Virginia to go to Texas, and I should say some context. I've lived in a lot of places. Richmond is home. I still refer to myself as a Virginian.
Okay.
But there came a time where I needed to leave Virginia, and I had a candid conversation with my grandfather, and he said,
What's your grandfather's name?
His name's Robert.
Mr. Robert.
Yeah, and he said, we were on the phone, and I said, I don't know why it's not, but it feels to me like good enough is never good enough. And he said, that's okay. You just got to be honest with yourself about it.
Okay.
And for me, that was sort of like the shackles came off. I went, oh, I'm okay with good enough not being good enough. I'm okay with the pursuit of perfection because I know I'm never going to obtain it.
Okay.
But I still want to try.
Okay.
And that's okay.
So when you had that conversation with Mr. Robert, your grandfather, your maternal or paternal?
Paternal, actually.
Paternal grandfather. You and he are close.
We are close.
You're very close. So that was almost like the green light, the go ahead to do what you needed to do.
It was more of like the green light to be okay with, to emotionally be okay with doing what I was doing, because I was walking away from a job that I loved, and I loved managing. That would be VPM News and VPM Music in Richmond, Virginia.
How did you move from Staples to that job?
Sure. So I moved over to technology reporting full-time in 2013. So Staples was offering buyouts. Okay. And they offered me a promotion, and when I asked whether that promotion would come with a pay increase, they said this will not negatively affect your pay. Again, experience that I draw on for my current position. Okay. And so I went, oh, actually, I'm making enough money at this thing where I actually don't have to do this anymore. I'm just going to go and do that. And so that was 2013. And I did that all the way up until 2018. I ran my own publication. I freelanced on the side. I got to cover Microsoft and Apple. I got to visit Apple headquarters. I got to visit Microsoft headquarters.
What was
I got
that
to meet
like?
Steve Ballmer. Honestly, for a young nerd like me who grew up with the iPod, it was an existential experience.
I bet.
Like, these people who are marrying software with hardware and creating something. And
New.
at that time, they were changing and to Microsoft's credit, right? They don't actually get credit for this anymore, but they launched one of the first subscription music services. Okay. And they took a very liberal approach to that and said, it's not about the technology. It's about music being a shared experience.
Was it MySpace?
That was Microsoft. They called it Zune at the time.
Zoom.
But I did that for a while and I loved it. And then some changes in the industry happened. Mainly, we stopped caring about some of those stuff, and I knew that I had to go. I believe that everything should have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And the only thing I'd ever wanted to do is be a technology reporter. And what I quickly realized is that I peaked, and I was about 26 or 27, and I had to go do something else.
Okay. And what did you do?
I went to go work in public media. I took a month off. It was that my last day working as a technology reporter was April 17th, 2018.
And what did you do during that month?
Oh, I went to DC.
You did?
And I'd never taken a vacation before.
Okay.
And so I went to the district and I went to all the Smithsonian museums because I'm a huge nerd.
Which is wonderful.
It was great. And it was just a train ride away and I'd never been.
Yeah.
And then I went to Florida.
What part of Florida?
I went to Kissimmee, Florida because I wanted to go to see the Universal World of Harry Potter. Because I had never been.
All right.
And I did that. And then I came back after that month. And there was a job posting to work in public television.
In Texas?
In Virginia, in Richmond.
In Virginia, okay.
In my home, my home media station. And I applied.
So you applied?
I applied and came down to the final three.
All
and
right.
then they went with someone else, which is totally fine. It was in development. So for the unpublic media inclined, development is fundraising.
When that happened, let me ask you, do you feel like God opens doors, closes doors, that what's meant to be for you is yours? Or did you feel like you really missed out on something?
I felt like... At the time, I felt like they made the only decision that they could make, right? Which is I was up against two other people who had more development experience.
Okay.
And I hadn't worked at a nonprofit yet.
All right.
And to make it into those three was great.
Huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was great. But I ultimately understood why that person chose to make the decision, which is great because later on, when I actually, she had some very kind words, but I didn't get that job, and it was okay. And
right. And what did you do next?
I just hung out for another month and a half. And
did you travel?
I didn't. The second month and a half, I was like, all right.
Search.
I should actually get down to it.
Okay, which a job search is a job in and of itself.
Yeah. And I had some other offers from places, but then I saw another job offer at that same public media company, this time to work in television.
Okay.
In public television. And I made it to the final two.
All right.
And then they gave the job to someone who had more experience.
All right.
And I said, okay, this isn't going to happen for me, and that's fine. I'm going to go do something else. And so I had just gotten an offer to work for a local judge. And I got the offer and I said, all right, I guess I'm just going to go and do this.
Okay.
And then that same afternoon, the HR director for VPM called me, Virginia Public Media called me and said, I feel really strongly that you have a place in the organization. You know all the programs. You like what we do. There is a job opening that has been posted for a while.
Okay.
In radio.
All right.
And she, to her credit, she said it has strong personalities. And I went, I don't know what that means.
Yeah. I was going to ask you, what does that mean?
Yeah. And so I applied and interviewed, and to me, skill is the ability to take advantage of luck when it happens.
Yes.
And luckily for me, I knew a lot about technology because of technology reporting. I knew a lot about databases because I built websites and learned how to code at an early age in order to do the website stuff. And I knew a lot about the programming because I appreciated public media and had listened every day since 1996 practically. And so that afternoon, I'm driving home, and she calls me and she says, you got the job. And I was on I-95 when I got that call and just forgot that I was on the phone and lost it on the phone. And her and I she's since moved on to other things, and she's actually one of my best friends actually.
Okay.
But I remember getting that first that first inkling of, oh, I'm going to go do something else. And it's not that technology didn't matter to me, but this was a thing that mattered even more to me than being a technology reporter. And I haven't left since.
So you were at VPM.
Mm-hmm.
And how long did you do that?
I was at VPM for, I believe, 4.5 years, I believe. And then I had different jobs there. So when I started, I worked in traffic. So for radio, that is the person making sure that all the trains are running on time. And I did that for a year and a half. And then I did operations and producing.
How did you like that?
I've never had a better
favorite?
job. I've never had a better job than when I was a traffic and operations person.
Really?
Because my brain is you know whether you're a good traffic or operations person or you do not.
Yeah.
Right? And the satisfaction of leaving at 5 and being like, not only did that law get done, not only did all of these programs air, but they aired in the right order, at the right time. There's just, a properly scheduled break.
Yeah.
I just, I do miss it. But I loved it. Operations and producing, I loved too. Not quite as much as traffic, right?
Okay.
And then I got to run that station as effectively a vice president of radio for them.
And as a young man.
Yeah, I was 31, 32 at the time.
Yeah.
And at that point, I'd had experience across the organization. I'd done traffic, I'd done operations, I'd hosted Morning Edition for a little bit during the pandemic. And
how was that?
If there's a job that I loved in radio, just less than being in traffic and ops, it's Morning Edition.
Really?
I do. There's something, there's something about an audio board in a radio station. Like it's sacred. You open that door and you look at that board and you realize that microphone and that board can change minds.
Yeah.
Right? It can introduce new ideas.
To the world.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's communication in its purest form.
Yeah.
And I love that about it. And I appreciate it even more having been a digital reporter before and coming back to a broadcasting.
Yeah.
And every morning I'd get up and I'd open that microphone. And I loved it so much that even when I got promoted to running both of the news station and the music station, I still kept an on-air shift. I would host Fresh Air.
Really?
Because, I mean, from a management perspective, and this goes back to the Staples days, effective management is also understanding how all the different pieces fit together. So if someone's out sick, I don't need someone to come in and host a show. I can do it myself.
Yeah.
But I also understand how all the different parts are coming together to form that broadcast day.
Yeah.
And I can take that experience when I'm not on the broadcast and say, oh, we need to tweak this.
Yeah.
Because it's not easy for the host.
Okay.
But I love
hands-on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you don't understand those individual parts, how do you
manage well?
How do you manage well? How do you prioritize the things that need to be prioritized? And frankly, how do you understand what the listener is hearing?
Sure.
Right? So if you don't know that you've got to play finger gymnastics and bring down this fader at exactly the right time in order to bring up the network fader, and what you instead hear are mistakes all the time, it's very hard for you to empathize because you just go, well, why do you keep getting this wrong?
Right.
And the actual answer is to move the fader.
Yeah.
Right? And it's that. It's I believe that we get into a habit of seeing a problem and we think that's the illness.
Okay.
When in fact what we're experiencing is a symptom of that illness.
Okay.
You got to go through steps back.
Yeah.
Understand the problem.
Sure.
And then you move forward on it.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Okay, so you were at VPM for
4.5 years, I believe.
4.5 years. Mm-hmm. And then you went to Texas?
I did. I went to Texas.
What part of Texas?
I was in Marfa, Texas. So I managed a station that broadcast Presidio at the border, Alpine, Marfa, the outskirts of El Paso, and Midland, Odessa.
Was that a difficult change for you being in that environment?
It was. Part of it was that I felt, again, I believe that skill is the ability to take advantage of luck when it happens.
Yeah.
And I felt that I'd gotten very lucky by being able to run the station that I'd listened to all those years. And so certainly there was a chip on my shoulder about that, right? Like, I've done it once. Can I do it again? Right?
Okay.
And when I left the Virginia station, I didn't anticipate leaving. The Texas station came to me.
Really?
Yeah. And
it was a good opportunity.
It was a good opportunity. And I also understood that I was leaving a very buttoned up version of what public media is.
Okay.
VPM had news all day on one station, classical music and jazz on the other,
Okay.
and blues, folk, and Americana on weekends.
Yeah.
And it had existed since 1989.
Okay.
88, excuse me. It and I are the same age.
Uh-huh.
Whereas the Texas station offers something completely different. So it was a combined news and music station.
Okay.
It was one of the youngest stations in the system. It was founded in 2000 and I want to say 6, but I could be off by a year or so.
Yeah.
Dan Rather himself, who was a Texan, flipped the switch on that, along with Willie Nelson.
Yeah.
But it was a very different version of public media. So
different in what sense?
So news and music, but the music is very different. So I went from having a staff of roughly 20 people at VPM to having a staff of about 9. Okay. Richmond metropolitan area, when I lived there, was, I believe, around 2 million people.
All right.
Marfa, this broadcast to roughly 430,000 people, but in an area the size of South Carolina, so it's very isolated and spread out. It is the high desert. Okay. It is oil country, and our offices were in Marfa, population 1,600 people. Okay. And so a lot of folks had migrated, artists had migrated from both Los Angeles and New York to form that community or rebirth it. And so very metropolitan sensibilities. It's a place where I've met Beyonce before, and I met her in Marfa. I have met Matthew McConaughey, and I met him in Marfa. Okay. Very art housey. Gotcha. And so it was very different from being in Richmond, where I'm, the news is the news, and music is music, and you've got folks who are very experimental, very, I remember having a conversation about the newscasts, and someone saying, well, do we have to air the newscasts? To which I was trained by public media professionals who've been in the business for the 80s. And I'm like, well, of course. There are some things that are not actually up for debate, friends. Right. But also fun things. Like, I remember being asked, we had an hour of programming every week that we called Marfa Mystery Hour. Okay. And as long as you were FCC trained and board trained, you could come and play anything you wanted. Okay. And let me set the scene. That station is in a converted gas station that was built in the early 1900s. And you can see into the studios directly from the street, and there are speakers out at the street. And
it sounds charming.
It was. That's one word for it. I spent a lot of time on infrastructure in that role. But it was this place where, because it was younger and it was staffed by folks this was their first station, they were amazing at production. And I mean, that station, when I was there, when I left, claimed 3 regional Murrow Awards and 2 national Murrow Awards in that year. Wow. But it was also a place where I recognized my job there was to be a suit. My job was to take all the training that I got from all those people who believed in me in Virginia. Yeah. And apply that to this very different thing where we have 3 hours of honky-tonk happy hour. Okay. And 2 hours of out of the blue Texas radio review. Or a gentleman who hosted a jazz show who I was at home, and one of my staff members called me and they were like, hey, the broadcast is going great. The turbine just got brought out. And this gentleman really was wearing a purple turban and doing classic old-style Texas broadcasting. Yeah. And it was so amazing. Those people asked all the verdant questions. Things like, can we play space-themed music? I go, sure. You're blatantly appealing to the Star Trek lover in me, but okay, I see the grit. And I'm like, well, I don't know. This feels a little straightforward. And they're like, well, we also want to have an interview portion. And I was like, all right. Yeah. Tell me about the interview portion. And we want to interview a person who, from the perspective of having lived on the moon. And he's like, okay. I give 2 questions. I think the first one is have you seen War of the Worlds? Yeah. And then the second question is does this person actually believe that they lived on the moon? Because it's a real question I got to ask. And they were like, no, of course not. It's like, okay. And I listened to it. And I did make them put a disclaimer on it. Right. And what I realized I was listening to were folks who really appreciated the art form and understood it. And it was actually performance art masquerading as a radio show.
As a radio show.
And
gotcha.
it was amazing. And
Yeah.
I some of the ways I run WBOI, some of the decisions that I made are directly from that. It
A
also
result of that.
it also taught me how to be a leader of different people. The Richmond station, I was the last person to be added to that staff when I took on the management of that station.
Okay.
And they were at the middle towards the end of their careers, all of them.
Mm.
And so my job was to inject some life and some levity into the broadcast and be thinking about how other ways people can listen to us.
Okay.
And also to keep, the C-suite off their backs. Whereas the Texas job was helping to foster creativity and put some guardrails on it. Say things like, hey, you should work less than 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
Saying things like, no, not having newscasts is
Not an option. Yeah.
Right? And giving them the resources to make amazing things. And they did. Marfa for Beginners was featured on Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, which is a show that we
Yes,
aired.
yes.
And I remember greenlighting. I remember working on the team that greenlit that. We produced a podcast about reproductive health out in West Texas that won awards. And we produced Marfa Public Radio Puts You to Sleep, which was a pledge premium. So if you gave during the pledge drive, we would send you a link to a podcast that was deliberately designed to put you to sleep. And it said, we just hosted it on monotones and we just read, I think my boss at the time read the Communications Act, the original Communications Act. I read the FCC Tower Guidelines.
That would definitely put you to sleep.
It did. And, I remember being in the room when someone pitched that idea and being like, oh.
And you thought it
something here.
interesting.
And we sat on it for a while, and then 6 weeks before the pledge drive, it's like, no, we're doing this.
Yeah.
And I don't care. Obviously, I don't want to burn anyone out. I mean, this is actually, we're in the desert.
An ingenious idea.
It is.
Yeah.
We can do anything we want. So
Yeah.
let's do it.
Yeah. So we are going to go to part 2 of our interview. And when we come back, I'm going to ask you, what did you learn? What was the greatest lesson you learned working at Marfa? Thank you for tuning in. Part 2 of our interview with Mr. Travis Pope is coming up next. Stay tuned and be blessed.